Hello everyone. In previous video, we had implemented our first class that was fish, and we had not implemented private variables or hidden variables that we had previously with constructor functions. Let's go and see how we can implement private variables. Actually, this is going to be very simple to be honest, but let's come here. Okay, we actually had this missed in last video. It should be fish dot total fishes, then only it will work. And let's first see what is how are private variables created in classes. So it's relatively new to JavaScript, but if we declare a variable like this with hash in starting, then the variable name, then this variable will be a private variable, and no one outside from this class block will be able to access this variable directly. And this can be demonstrated very easily. We have declared this variable here. Now we can use it. So things to note, we have to declare our private variables like this. So we just created our name as a private variable. So again, this has become way much simpler than it was previously there, because if you see here, what we had to do to make name private, we had to make a function out of it, and we can only access name using this function. We were not able to access name directly, and that's how it was private. But now we created this variable name, and now it is private. Even when this name variable will be there, but no one will be able to copy it. So here I'll say this dot name. Let's see if we fall into some errors, and let's try to debug if there are errors, and let's see if it works and how it works. Let's go into console and let's check what's there. So now if we check Nemo, then while printing the object it shows, because if you have access to object then it can show. But if you try to copy Nemo somewhere else, it will actually omit the private variable. See, if I try to create Nemo underscore copy is equals to structured clone of Nemo. What structured clone does is it creates a deep copy of an object. So it actually omitted the private variable. What if I try to access this variable from here? Nemo dot underscore name. It will give error. It says undeclared reference to undeclared private variable or method hash name. So you cannot access it from outside world, and if you can not access it, definitely you cannot change it. So it made our life way much simpler to hide variables. So but this swim function, can it access because it's inside this particular curly brace, right? Let's see if it can access or not. Nemo dot swim. It can access. Why it can access? Because this is residing inside this curly brace. Now previously what we had done, we had this get name. What we were using get name for? To get the variable name. So we could have done this Nemo dot get name to get the name. Right now we have not defined it, so it's not there. So now there can be two decisions to make. If we don't want anyone outside this class to access name, at all, we can leave this code as is, because it's private, right? I can access it wherever I want, or what else I can do? I can access this wherever I want, or I can also assign it to whatever I want, and I don't want anyone else to even be able to read it or touch it. This is the concept of private variables, right? So we are pretty much good here. But so that's one case. Now, what is second case? Second case is that you want to give little bit access out to the outside world, as we had given previously. We had given this access of get name thing to the outside world. And this actually we wanted to give, that's why we had given, right? So what we can do is we can copy this function and we can define it here. Let's define it here. And instead of writing this equal to function, we can write it like this. And name is not there, so we will access this, and obviously should be this dot name. Now if we go here, we can use get name thing, but there is a much better way to do it. Remember, we had learned getters and setters. Since we have used hash name here, what we can do is we can put a getter of get name, and we won't have a setter because anyone can only change name if there is a setter, right? And if we don't create a setter, then no one will be able to change it. So we can create a get name, and this provides us with an even better syntax where nemo.name is accessible from outside world as a proxy. We cannot modify it from outside. Say we want to change its name to Dory. Looks like it is changed, but it's still Nemo. So this is how we can create private variables. Let's see how to make total. So we had two private variables previously. One was this usual variable that we had within our fish instances. Another one was this total fishes variable. Now total fish is also, we can do the very same things with the total fishes as well. So let's do it. We'll put a hash here. What this hash will do, this will make this variable private, and we can only access it from here. We'll put a hash here as well, because we are accessing the private variable here, and we can use get total fishes to get the hidden variable total fishes. And now there is no way anyone can change it from outside, because we have not implemented a getter for total, a setter for total fishes, but anyone can access it using total fishes from outside. And we have a hidden variable hash total fishes, which we can access freely from inside. So we are able to change it from inside. Now let's go and check how it's implemented. So we have checked the name variable as well. Now let's come here. Let's print Nemo. Total fishes is obviously not here because it's static. Where it will reside? It will reside under fish object. So let's open fish object and see what's there. So there is a getter for total fish, but it doesn't even shows us that where is this total fish residing. Even better, right? We don't even want to see it. So let's see if fish dot total fishes is still working. Dot total total fishes. Yes, it's still working. Let's see if we can modify it from outside. It looks like we modified it, but it's not modifiable. And can we access it? No, because it is a reference to a private variable from the outside world. So we cannot access it this way. And this is how we hide variables within the class syntax. And this is actually now one more thing to note. This is actually a newer way to do it. So if you see some older code, which is very possible that you encounter legacy code or older code in your organization wherever you work. So what was the convention previously was, instead of hash, they were using underscores. And it was a convention that if a variable starts from underscore, it was being treated as a private variable, and it was not being accessed intentionally by the developers. Try to understand this. It was previously, it was possible to access things with underscore, but it was intentionally not accessed. And there is a very big drawback of this, because you're saying it's intentionally not accessed, but technically you can access it, right? So this is something you can see somewhere in your company's code, but now it's obsolete. Now this is the better way to do things. In case you find that syntax, then you should be able to understand it, how it goes. So I just mentioned it over here. I don't think it's much of important to talk about. So yeah, that's pretty much it for private variables within classes. Things to remember, things to notice: hash name won't be accessible outside these braces, so we can only access it here. If you want to access it outside these braces anyhow, then you have to set a getter. And if you set a setter as well, then you have given all the ways open. Then there is no point in hiding it, I would say. But still, there can be reasons to make a setter as well. If you want to give a slight access to modify it with particular what do you call it, restrictions. So I would show it quickly. It doesn't falls under our use case, but it can fall under someone's use case. So let's just talk about it. So it says it's a setter, so it should have at least one parameter. It has one parameter. So let's say fish count cannot go beyond 10. If val is greater than 10, then return URN. Else set fish dot total fishes is equals to 15. Okay, is equals to val. So this is some way we can implement setter as well. So this is to this kind of thing can be done to restrict the access to some extent. So now what we can do is, now we can access fish dot total fishes, that is one, and we can do this is equals to 3. It will increase it to 3, but if we try to do a 44, then it won't do anything. So we gave out a restricted access. We do a plus, then it increased the value. So that can also be used in some cases, but in our particular use case, we don't need it. So let me remove it from here. And this is a wholesome discussion over private variable and how we can read it from other places as well. Let's move to the next video where we'll implement the rest of the classes that we had created previously. It would be a very quick video and we are about to end this whole series.